Hey, what's going on, guys? Brian here, Brian's Lawn Maintenance. Trust you guys are doing well. Well, first off, welcome to the studio. This is the brand new setup where I'm hoping to do a few more talking head videos per month, and of course, bring you guys as much value as I can, sharing with you guys latest and greatest, best practices, and tips along the way that are helping me grow my lawn and landscaping business that I hope can help you guys grow your lawn and landscaping business. Hey, if you guys are new here, welcome to the jungle. The channel is all about helping you guys grow a more successful lawn and landscaping business so you guys can go out there and crush it. If you guys are new here, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you guys are a part of the regular crew, just want to say thanks. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hitting a thumbs up. And of course, check out the brand new studio. Finally have a dedicated space to make content for you guys, other than just running around on other people's properties, making videos inside my truck, or of course making videos exclusively in the barn. Feels pretty good to finally have a studio here in the new house. That being said, wanted to spend a few minutes today talking to you guys about some great ways to renew customers, both residential and commercial, what's working for us, and also what we're changing up to make things easier and more streamlined for 2025. That being said, I want to jump into it here and talk first things first about residential. Secondly, we'll talk about our commercial accounts. And by the way, if you guys watch all the way through, I do have a resource that's going to be available for you guys for absolutely free. That is something that I wanted to make available and answer a bunch of questions out there that are coming through talking about getting new commercial accounts. I've got some exciting things that I want to share with you guys in just a quick second. Before we go too far down the rabbit hole, I do want to just say really quickly, today's video is sponsored by me, Launchpreneur Academy. So that is one of our training companies that we have that's all about giving you guys access to the documents, the courses, the resources, the contracts, and so much more that we use in our lawn and landscaping business to help you guys put them into your business, grow your company exponentially, and we can do all that bootstrapping it on a shoestring budget. So if you guys have not been to launchpreneuracademy.com/store lately, I invite you guys to check it out. You can grab the commercial contract, the residential contract, the price increase letter, our postcard templates, and so much more. That is one of the best ways to support our channel, doing everything that we're doing. I know everybody thinks we make the YouTube millions. One day, I'm sure they'll show up. But in the meantime, we got to bootstrap and fund this hobby another way. That being said, let's jump into it today. I'm going to give you guys a couple of tips here about what's working for our residential and then also what's working for our commercial renewal process this year in 2025. First things first, I wanted to talk about residential and something that I'm absolutely excited about, and that is incorporating a new strategy to renew all of our residential customers. The big one here for us, as we have moved over from Yard Book to LMN, and of course now having our second season going into spring using LMN, is how we are renewing 75, 80, 90 plus residential customers, and that is with a integrated MailChimp newsletter that we're using to send to our customers for renewal this spring. Now, as you guys know, over the last 5 or 6 years, we've used the free lawn agreement form that, by the way, is still available at launchpreneuracademy.com. Just scroll all the way to the bottom of the main page and you can get access to that free document, free resource. I know that's been extremely popular over the years. Well, as you guys can imagine, things change. Our business has evolved, and not only going from pen and paper to Yard Book and Yard Book to LMN, we're now also renewing customers in an entirely different way, right? It's 2025. So before, we used to fill out that lawn inquiry form. We used to send it on out, get those back snail mail, about 2/3 or 3/4 of them, if you know, you know. And that would be at least a good pulse for how the season's shaping up. We could start making some upsells on aeration, cleanups, mulch, fert, so on and so forth. And that's what that resource was for. It did fit the mold at the time. Well, today we can, of course, send out estimate approvals and renewals very quickly. But as you guys can also imagine, if you're renewing 50, 100, 200, 500, 1,000 new customers or customers like you guys have with larger businesses out there, that can be a pretty daunting task. So I actually picked up a tip from my friend Jeremiah with Growing Green Landscapes, and we both are using LMN. And one of the things he did was send out a newsletter this spring, just renewing all of his customers with an auto renew. And I love that idea because back in the day when I used to work at True Green for a couple of years, it was the standard issue that every spring your service would just renew with a small price increase. And I thought, what a phenomenal approach, what a phenomenal idea. And what a great way to save dozens of hours in the office sending out quotes and renewals, hoping that people approve or click yes or get back with you. Of course, you guys know the first week or second week into the mowing season, folks forget to renew. And of course, that's just frustrating. And we know they want service. They are just busy. And you know what? What we did instead was do what the big guys do. We went with an auto renewal process. That newsletter that we sent out explains that your service will now auto renew. And it also included a couple of other notes and updates for our company. Changed our email, another video coming up soon for that one. We let let them know what the actual price increase was for us this year. It was a 4% nominal price increase, just basically to cover the cost of inflation and the cost of living increase. Nothing crazy here. And then number 3 was to let folks know that we now have a dedicated account manager. When they reach out to the office email that we now have, somebody will be able to follow up with them. Now, that being said, for me right now, it's me, but in the future, it's going to be somebody that's on our team and probably a either production manager or somebody in the sales hat role very, very here soon. So very, very excited about that. Now, all we did is take our active customer list from LMN. We cleaned up our email list for the active clientele. We imported those into MailChimp. This whole process took about an hour or two, nothing crazy. Now we've got an active email list in MailChimp. Now we've got an active client list for LMN, and we're able to build out that newsletter and template in no time. So number 1, that is the new way that we're renewing and auto-renewing and continuing service year over year with our residential customers. I'm really excited about that. Another update that was actually in that newsletter that I think you guys might find super appealing, and this is one for my personal company, and I know a lot of guys are doing this. I know a lot of guys are moving to this, and that is charging weekly now for maintenance service instead of just end of month. Look, elephant in the room, we're a growing company. Cash flow is everything. We're trying to make payroll. We're trying to pay for product. We're trying to pay for everything in between. The opportunity to get that weekly charge, and for those customers, whether it's 50 accounts, 100 accounts, 500 accounts, tremendously helps cash flowing the business and the growth that we're looking to grow into here for Brian's Lawn Maintenance. And so what used to be an end of month charge is now going to be a weekly charge for all of our customers. We might incur a few more, credit card fees along the way, admittedly, but to make sure that we have our cash flow weekly to spur growth is going to be a game changer for our company. The last change we're looking to implement here, and I'm super excited about this, is the ability to auto charge cards on file with LMN. Now, you could do that before, but the process admittedly was a little clunky. And if you guys have ever used Yardbook or Jobber, they had that down to a pat. Well, LMN and also the single op folks that purchased LMN about 5 or 6 months ago have been doing their best to streamline that process over the last 4 or 5 months, and those changes have just started rolling out. Not only those changes, but many more coming down the pike here very, very soon that I'm really excited about. So if you guys are not doing a charge card on file system for your residential customers and charging those cards weekly, I implore you guys to check out that idea, that option. I think it could be not necessarily a silver bullet, but it could be a really good option for you guys to help getting more on top of your cash flow and really to spur that growth like I was talking about earlier. All right, before we pivot to commercial work, leave me some comments down below. Let me know what's working out there in the marketplace for you guys and your businesses that have residential customers. I'd love to hear what your thoughts and feedback on some of the changes and suggestions that we're going to be making into the company for Brian's Lawn Maintenance this spring. Those are what I'm excited about, but let me know if you guys are changing it up for your business. Now, naturally, we still have to send out estimates, quotes, and renewals for our customers for commercial work. And one of the things that I am most excited about was the renewal process, again, with LMN. A lot of you guys know that we're LMN ambassadors. If you guys need a promo code to sign up with LMN, it's promo code Brian, or shoot me an email. We'll make sure to get the best deal for you. Thank you so much for using our code, supporting what we're doing. That's, again, one of the best ways to support the channel, support the podcast. But that being said, we have the ability to renew the commercial contracts that we had previous years and simply go through the process to renew based on the current price list and a price increase. And so very simply, we're able to renew dozens and dozens and dozens of commercial accounts with a 4% price increase as well. That was super awesome. Before, I'd have to go back into my previous CRM, go back in, redo the estimate, rebuild it all out. It would take hours on end to do all of my commercial. To be honest with you, I was pretty much dreading it. And today with Element, I can click renew with current prices and also the price increase, and boom, we're back to the drawing board. No wasted time. How cool is that? Now, the next part that I'm really excited about is streamlining our commercial billing operation to 7 equal monthly payments. Before, we would typically bill just a la carte for all the work that was performed that month. And although that was fine, what we've noticed is we've had a pretty expensive spring with some pretty decent revenue in the spring. We kind of have that summer lull. Sometimes the lawns would burn out, or maybe work would slow down a little bit, right? And then we'd have another big influx of cash and cash flow. And in September, and then things would kind of taper off towards the tail end of the season. Well, two things. One, we want to have consistent growth, consistent revenue, consistent cash flow, of course, to fuel the growth that we're looking to have for our company. But then also number two, just streamline things for our customers. And the more commercial work that we're getting into, I've seen an evolution over the last couple of years of folks wanting to have flat rate seasonal pricing, not only for the 7-month lawn contract, but for that 5-month snow contract. Now, one quick tip that I'm going to share with you guys, and I got this out of the Leanscaper seminar that we did a couple of weeks ago there in Nashville, Tennessee with Mark Bradley, was I actually heard this from a guest in the audience that was asking a question, and they were talking about some work that they were doing. And what they had did, quick little tip here, if you guys are doing these 7-month or 12-month contracts, is they put a clause in those contracts that said, if the customer happens to cancel before the contract is fulfilled, they're going to back charge for the full completion price of the services completed or performed. So that's always been my big Achilles heel to any of the commercial contracts or residential contracts where we're charging 6-month, 9-month, 12-month contracts. Because as we can imagine, let's just take my business, for example. In the spring, we've got the spring cleanups. We've got the first round of fertilizer or pre-emergent. We've got the mulch. We've got the first couple of mows. It's very, very expensive getting the business off the ground. Well, what happens if you have a 7-month contract and that customer cancels in month 3 or month 4? We didn't really recoup the cost of that mulch, the cleanups, and maybe those first couple of rounds of fertilizer, right? Well, if you have it in your terms of service that if they cancel early, we're going to back charge or they have to fulfill the price on the services completed, i.e. the remaining balance of that spring cleanup, i.e. the remaining balance of that mulch job. And I thought that was a great silver lining, a great silver bullet, if you will, for the commercial contracts that gave me peace of mind to offer 7 out of 7 or 9 out of 9 or 12 out of 12 month contracts for our customers. Let me know what you guys think about that. Now, before we wrap this up, 2 things I wanted to leave with you guys. I am going to be sharing and making available a how to get new commercial customers training program coming down the pike here at Launchpreneur Academy in the coming weeks. Very, very excited about that. As you guys know, we went from 2 to 8 to almost 35 commercial accounts in the last 24 months. We've had some phenomenal growth in that area of our business. We're pivoting the entire brand and everything that we're doing with Brian's Lawn Maintenance to go exclusively commercial here in 2025 and beyond. And I want to make how we're doing that available to you guys. We want to give you guys best practices, tips and tricks, the marketing strategies we're using, the verbiage we're using, how we're formulating those contracts. So make sure you guys stay tuned to that in the next couple of weeks. We can have one consolidated platform to get access to all that information about how to grow the commercial side of your business quickly. Last thing I'll share with you guys here is a free resource that is actually just based on a lot of feedback from folks, part of our link membership, you guys emailing in, and comments that I've seen across the YouTube channel and the platform. And that is, how do you actually talk to and scoop up these commercial customers via email when they start reaching out to you? What I wanted to make available to you guys that we just put on the website literally today is a couple of email responses. I think we have about 8 or 9 different email templates, maybe even more. And this will be a living document. We'll continue to update it as we go. And this is all the language that we're using for the commercial contracts and all the customers that are reaching out. So, for example, when somebody fills out a submission form, what do you say when they actually fill out the submission form and it's the first soft inquiry to your business? How do you respond to that? How do you follow up? What do you do after you follow up with them with a response email? Then you happen to maybe get on the phone, and then they have a couple additional questions, or you're going to submit that proposal back to them. What do you say so it looks professional? Well, we have that available, part of this free download and resource. No strings attached. Well, what if there's some pushback based on price or budget, and we need to rebuttal a little bit on that terms of the contract, and how do we actually communicate that and sound professional? Maybe you struggle with that. I know I did for a long time. I don't speak corporate America, right? Of course, we're maybe having our hands tied behind our back as landscapers talking to corporate America. So how do we do that? How do we facilitate those conversations? Well, I'm going to give you all of the scripts that we use to acquire our commercial accounts, part of that free downloaded resource that you can get at Launchpreneur Academy. You just got to punch in your email. We're not here to spam you. We're not here to sell that list or anything like that. Literally, we just want to get this resource into your hands. All right, well, guys, that being said, that's where I'm going to leave the video here today. I really appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully, this video was helpful. I want to know what's working in your guys' business for residential renewals, commercial renewals. These are the big changes that we're making here in our company, Brian's Lawn Maintenance, here for 2025. I'm super excited about that. hopefully these tips are helpful for you guys and you can incorporate them into your business to grow big time this spring. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Let me know what your feedback is. And if you guys are doing anything similar or entirely different. Again, a lot of the tips that I shared in this video are actually tips that I've learned from you guys, just trying to compile it all here for the community. And hopefully this can pay some big dividends for you guys as well. All right, well, that being said, let's shut this thing down. Appreciate you guys watching on today's video. And by the way, leave me some comments about the new studio. What do you guys like? What do you guys don't like? Let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch up with you guys here on the next video.